Dominic Cross stood in the rain outside her apartment, a ring in his pocket and a lie on his lips, because the woman he loved more than anything was the daughter of the man he'd sworn to destroy. Dominic Cross didn't believe in coincidences. He believed in strategy, in leverage, in the cold mathematics of revenge. 10 years ago, Richard Hartwell destroyed his father's company with a hostile takeover built on lies and legal manipulation. His father never recovered. The stress killed him within 2 years. Dominic rebuilt everything from the ground up, became wealthier, more powerful than Hartwell could ever imagine, and he spent every day planning how to take it all away. Then he met her. Elena Hartwell was nothing like her father. Where Richard was cold and calculating, she was warm and curious. She ran a small art gallery in Soho, lived modestly despite her family's wealth, and had a laugh that made Dominic forget, just for a moment, why he'd come to New York. He'd engineered their first meeting at a charity gala, made himself positioned near the modern art exhibit she was curating, and made an intelligent comment about a Rothko painting. She'd looked at him with those deep brown eyes, smiled, and said something that disarmed him completely. Most billionaires pretend to understand art. You actually do. That was 6 months ago. Now, Dominic couldn't remember the last day he hadn't thought about her. The way she bit her lip when she was concentrating, how she always ordered mint tea instead of coffee, the scar on her wrist from a childhood skating accident. He knew he was supposed to be getting close to her to access Hartwell's private files, to find the evidence that would bring the old man down. Instead, he was falling in love. Their relationship looked like a fairy tale from the outside. Dominic took her to Paris for the weekend, to a private villa in Tuscany, to a Broadway show where he'd rented out the entire theater just so she could sit wherever she wanted. He showered her with experiences, not things, because he learned early that Elena hated ostentation. "I don't need grand gestures," she told him once, lying in his arms in his penthouse overlooking Central Park. "I just need you to see me." And God help him, he did see her, more clearly than he'd ever seen anyone. But Elena didn't know the truth. She didn't know that every gift, every date, every whispered confession was built on a foundation of deceit. She thought he'd approached her that night because he was genuinely interested in art. She had no idea he'd been studying her family for years. "My father wants to meet you," Elena said one morning over breakfast. Dominic's coffee cup stopped halfway to his lips. "Oh." "He's throwing his annual gala next month. He asked me to bring you." She smiled, but there was tension in it. "I know you two will get along. You're both intense." Dominic forced a smile. This was exactly what he'd been working toward: access to Hartwell's private estate, his inner circle, his secrets. So why did he feel sick? The twist came 3 weeks later, in the form of a manila folder. Dominic's investigator, Marcus, dropped it on his desk without ceremony. "Found something you need to see." Inside were hospital records, old news clippings, and a police report from 18 years ago. Elena had a brother, Alexander. He died when Elena was 10 years old, a car accident on a rainy night. Richard Hartwell had been driving.
The official report says brake failure, Marcus said quietly. But there were rumors. Hartwell was under investigation for insider trading at the time. Some people thought he was distracted. Dominic stared at the photo of young Alexander Hartwell, bright-eyed, 7 years old, frozen in time. Elena doesn't talk about him, Marcus continued. From what I can tell, the family buried the story, buried the grief. Her mother left shortly after and never came back. Dominic closed the folder slowly. This changed everything. Richard Hartwell wasn't just a corporate raider. He was a man who'd failed his own family in the most fundamental way, and then buried the truth beneath money and silence. Elena was a victim too. If you believe some sins can never be buried, hit that subscribe button, because the truth always finds its way to the surface. The people who try to hide it, they won't like where this story goes.
The Hartwell estate was everything Dominic expected: old money, classical architecture, champagne towers, and fake smiles. Richard Hartwell was in his 60s now, silver-haired and distinguished, with a kind of practiced charm that concealed a predator's instinct. "Mr. Cross," Hartwell said, extending a hand, "I've heard a great deal about you. Quite the success story. Self-made billionaire from, what was it, Queens?" "Brooklyn," Dominic corrected, shaking his hand. The grip was firm, territorial. "Of course, Elena speaks very highly of you." Hartwell's smile didn't reach his eyes. "I hope your intentions toward my daughter are honorable." "They are," Dominic said. The lie tasted like ash. Elena appeared at his side, stunning in a midnight blue gown. "Dad, don't interrogate him. I'm simply getting to know the man who's captured my daughter's heart. I protect what's mine, Mr. Cross. I'm sure you understand." As the evening wore on, Dominic watched Hartwell work the room. The calculated touches, the strategic conversations, the way he wielded charm like a weapon. This was the man who destroyed his father, and Dominic had never hated him more. Later that night, Dominic found himself alone in Hartwell's private study. The real reason he'd come. The office was exactly as he'd imagined. Mahogany desk, first edition books, and a safe behind a Monet painting. Amateur hour. He was halfway through downloading files from Hartwell's personal server when the door opened. "Looking for something?" Dominic's blood froze. But it wasn't Hartwell. It was Elena. She stood in the doorway, still in her gala gown, arms crossed. Her expression was unreadable. "Elena, I can explain." "Can you?" "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're stealing from my father." Dominic's mind raced. He could lie. He was good at lying. But when he looked at her face, at the hurt beginning to crystallize in her eyes, he couldn't do it anymore. "Your father destroyed my family 10 years ago. A hostile takeover built on fraud. My father lost everything. It killed him." Elena went very still. "I came to New York to take your father down. I engineered our meeting. I pursued you to get close to him. Everything was calculated." "Everything?" Elena's voice cracked. "Every moment. Every word. At first,
But, Elena, somewhere along the way, don't. She held up a hand. Don't you dare tell me you fell in love. You don't destroy someone you love. I haven't destroyed you. I would never. You just did. Tears streamed down her face. Everything between us was a lie. How is that not destruction? She turned to leave. Your brother. Elena froze. Alexander. The accident. Your father was under investigation when it happened. Did you know that? What are you talking about? The brake failure. The timing. Your father buried the investigation, paid off the right people. I think he... Stop. Elena's voice was ice. I don't know what sick game you're playing, but bringing my brother into this? I'm not playing a game. I have proof. Get out. Elena whispered. Get out of this house. Get out of my life. Elena, please. Get out. Dominic left the estate that night, knowing he'd lost her. But 3 days later, Elena appeared at his penthouse unannounced. She looked like she hadn't slept. Show me the files. All of them. Dominic didn't argue. He pulled up everything. The timeline of his father's company, the fraudulent contracts, the witness statements that Hartwell had suppressed, and then the file on Alexander. Elena read in silence, her hand covering her mouth. The police report was altered, Dominic said quietly. The original investigating officer noted signs of intoxication in your father's blood test, but it disappeared from the final report. Hartwell made a substantial donation to the police commissioner's re-election campaign 2 weeks later. Elena's hands were shaking. My father was drunk when Alexander died? I can't prove it conclusively, Dominic said, but the evidence suggests he was drunk, Elena said. Her voice was hollow. And he blamed the car. He blamed fate. He let us all believe it was just bad luck. She looked up at Dominic with red-rimmed eyes. Is that why my mother left? Did she know? I think she suspected. I found divorce proceedings that were initiated, then mysteriously dropped. A significant financial settlement changed hands. He paid her to stay silent. Elena laughed bitterly. God, my whole life has been built on lies. She stood abruptly. I need to confront him. Elena, wait. No. You wanted to destroy him? Fine. Let's destroy him together. But when they arrived at the Hartwell estate, something was wrong. Police cars, ambulances, chaos. Elena ran toward the house, Dominic close behind. Richard Hartwell was being carried out on a stretcher, unconscious, oxygen mask over his face. What happened? Elena grabbed a paramedic's arm. Heart attack, severe. We're taking him to Presbyterian. In the ambulance, racing through Manhattan traffic, Elena held her father's hand. His eyes fluttered open. Elena, don't talk, Dad. Save your strength. Need to tell you. His breath was labored. Alexander, the accident. I was drunk. I know. Elena's voice broke. I know everything. Hartwell's face crumpled. Tears leaked from the corners of his eyes. I'm sorry. God, Elena. I've been sorry every day for 18 years. Then why didn't you tell me? Why did you lie? Because I am a coward. Because I couldn't bear to see you look at me the way you're looking at me now. The monitor beside him began to beep erratically. "Sir, you need to stay calm," the paramedic began. "Elena," Hartwell's grip tightened. "Your mother. She didn't leave because of the money. She left because I chose my pride over the truth. I chose my reputation over my family. Don't, don't make my mistakes. The man you love," he glanced at Dominic, who was sitting silent in the corner, "don't lose him because you can't forgive." The monitor flatlined. "Dad? Dad!" Elena screamed. Paramedics swarmed. CPR, defibrillator, desperate commands. And then, miraculously, a beep. A heartbeat. Weak, but present. "We've got him back," the lead paramedic said, but barely. At the hospital, Elena sat in the ICU waiting room, numb. Dominic sat beside her, not touching, barely breathing. "He might die," Elena whispered, "and I'll never get to decide if I forgive him." "He won't die," Dominic said, though he had no way of knowing. "Would you forgive him if you were me?" Dominic was quiet for a long time. "I spent 10 years hating him. It didn't make me whole. It didn't bring my father back. It just ate me alive. Until I met you." Elena finally looked at him. "You used me." "I did. You lied to me. Every day. So how can I possibly trust you now?" Dominic reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. He opened it to reveal a simple diamond ring, elegant, understated, exactly Elena's style. "I bought this 3 weeks ago, before the gala, before any of this. I was going to propose at the art gallery where we met, make some romantic speech about how you'd helped me see beauty again." Elena stared at the ring, tears streaming down her face. "But I can't do that now," Dominic continued, "because you're right. I don't deserve you. I don't deserve your trust. So I'm giving you something else instead." He pulled out a thick manila envelope and placed it in her lap. "What is this?" "Every piece of evidence I have against your father. Bank records, contracts, witness statements, everything that could destroy him. I'm giving it to you. You decide what happens to him. Not me, not his, yours." Elena opened the envelope with shaking hands, saw the damning evidence inside. "If you want to protect him, burn it. If you want justice, use it. But the choice is yours, not mine, not his, yours." "Why?" Elena's voice was barely a whisper. "Because I love you, and love means giving someone the power to destroy you and trusting they won't. If you believe love should never be built on revenge, hit that subscribe button right now. Because some people think power is more important than truth, and they need to hear that we don't stand for that. Comment truth over pride if you're with me on this. A doctor emerged from the ICU. "Miss Hartwell, your father is stable. You can see him now." Elena stood, the envelope still in her hands. She looked at Dominic. "Come with me." "Elena, I don't think—" "Come with me." They walked into Richard Hartwell's room together. He was pale, hooked up to machines, but his eyes were alert. "Elena," he rasped, "I'm so sorry." Elena approached the bed slowly. She held up the envelope. "Do you know what this is?" Hartwell's eyes widened. He looked at Dominic, then back at his daughter. "Evidence," Elena said calmly. "Everything you did. To Dominic's father. To your business rivals. To our family. All of it. Elena, please. I could destroy you with this. Send you to prison. Make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are." Hartwell closed his eyes. "I know, but I won't." His eyes flew open. Elena set the envelope on the bedside table. "Not because you deserve mercy. You don't. But because carrying around revenge is what destroyed both of you. I won't let it destroy me too." She took a deep breath. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to use whatever time you have left to make things right. Publicly apologize to the people you've hurt. Return what you stole. Fund a foundation in Alexander's name for families affected by drunk driving. You're going to become the man Alexander deserved as a father." Tears streamed down Hartwell's face. "I will. I swear I will." She turned to Dominic. "And you're going to learn that love isn't a transaction. It's not strategy. It's trust and truth and choosing someone even when it's hard." She walked toward the door, then paused. "You both lied to me. You both hurt me. But I'm choosing to believe people can change, can be better. So prove me right." She looked back one last time. "I'll be at the gallery. If either of you wants to be in my life, really in it, with no more lies, you know where to find me." Elena walked out. Dominic and Hartwell stared at each other across the hospital room. Two men who'd spent years locked in a battle neither could win. "She's remarkable," Hartwell said finally. "She is," Dominic agreed. "If you hurt her again, I'll destroy you myself, sick or not." Dominic almost smiled. "If I hurt her again, I'll let you." He picked up the envelope, tucked it under his arm, and walked out.
3 days later, Dominic stood outside Elena's gallery, rain streaming down around him. He had the ring in his pocket, the truth on his lips, and absolutely no idea if she'd even let him through the door. But he knocked anyway, because some things were worth fighting for. Some things were worth changing for. And Elena Hartwell was worth everything. The door opened. Elena stood there, arms crossed, eyes guarded but not closed. "Did you think about what I said?" she asked. "Every moment." "And?" Dominic took a deep breath. "I want to earn back your trust, not through grand gestures or expensive gifts, just by showing up every day, being honest, being present, being the man you saw in me before you knew the truth." Elena studied him for a long moment. Then she stepped aside. "Okay," she said quietly. "Show me." Dominic walked through the door, into the gallery, into the possibility of redemption. Behind him, the rain continued to fall, but inside, surrounded by art and hope and the woman he loved, Dominic Cross finally felt warm.
3 months later, the gallery, a private showing. Elena and Dominic stand before a new exhibition, a collection of photographs titled Inheritance. Images of fathers and children, loss and redemption, broken things made beautiful. Richard Hartwell enters, leaning on a cane, looking older but somehow lighter. He sees the exhibition, sees a photograph of young Alexander, sees his daughter's art celebrating the brother he'd failed. He begins to cry. Elena crosses the room and takes her father's hand. She says quietly, "I'm dedicating this to Alexander, to the person he could have been, and to the people we're all trying to become." Hartwell pulls her into an embrace. He would have loved it. He would have loved you. Dominic watches from across the room, the ring still in his pocket, waiting for the right moment. Or maybe, he thinks, maybe there aren't any right moments. Maybe there's only choosing someone every day despite the broken pieces. Maybe that's what love actually is. Elena catches his eye across the gallery. She smiles. And for the first time in 10 years, Dominic Cross believes in something more powerful than revenge. He believes in tomorrow. So what happens next? Does Dominic finally propose? Does Hartwell truly change? And what secrets still lie buried in the Hartwell family history? If you want to know how this story ends, if you believe love can survive even the darkest truths, subscribe to Hearts and Empires, because we're just getting started. And remember, some people build empires on lies. Others tear them down with truth. Which side are you on?